Okay, folks, how you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Well, let's get right to it. Okay, what we've got here is one complaint a minute being made under Shambolic Scott's hate law as almost 8,000 complaints leave police swamped. Well, this is censorship at its finest. If you're going to have a hate crime bill about hate speech, get ready to be overwhelmed, especially if you're able to call in and just be anonymous. Yeah, I can see this. This is already backfiring in the face of known racist. The I don't even know how Scottish or English politics work, but First Minister of Scotland, Humza Yousaf, sure, such a Scottish guy right there, just Scottish. So he's in charge of the Islamic takeover of Scotland at the very least. And he calls out Scottish people as racists in their own country, too. This guy needs to be rejected and deported ASAP. So, so here you go. Since he enacted this hate speech bill, it's been a disaster. Shocker to no one. Police in Scotland have been swamped with almost 8,000 complaints. Let me check something here. 8,000 complaints since the introduction of Humza Yousaf. Yes, a Scottish name, a surname, Humza Yousaf. His shambolic hate crime laws. It's a good name for it. Shambolic. The Mail on Sunday can reveal. Control room officers are battling to keep on top of the backlog, equivalent to one grievance every minute. Yep, the ever sustainable struggle of grievance politics, struggle sessions, they know no bounds because the monsters of the left, what they want is they can never get enough. They're never satisfied. And you're seeing the backfire and the after effects of this right now. Stirring up hatred is now prohibited. And police are braced for thousands more cases following football's old firm derby today. David Kennedy, General Secretary of the Scottish Police Federation, what a loser, said, "It is a disaster and officers are swamped under a deluge of complaints." Well, the self-destruction of Scotland is imminent, and maybe something better will come back and replace it, most likely Scottish people, okay? Natives of Scotland, okay? Not this doof right here. Senior officers have warned that police will be forced to make cuts to frontline crime fighting and face a big overtime bill as a result. Yes, this guy Yusuf or whatever, he is installed. I'm pretty sure he was installed by the puppets of the EU or the WEF. First Minister of Scotland, Humza Yousaf, who has this weekend introduced new hate crime laws that have resulted in almost 8,000 complaints to police. So J.K. Rowling challenged police to take action against her over her gender-critical views under the new laws, but officers said no action would be taken. Of course not, because she's got the money and the backing and the popularity not to. Now, who are they going to go after? People who don't have money, people who are not well known. Yes, the poor. And police in Scotland are bracing for thousands more reports to be made under the new law following football's old... Okay, we got that. Legal experts fear sectarian chants and songs, a regular occurrence at the highly charged matches between Rangers and Celtic, fall foul of the laws. Well, geez, what are you going to do? Thousands upon thousands of people chanting songs because they're sports rivals. Yeah, this is a mess. Tory MSP Myrtle Fraser said rival fans could simply submit complaints to make mischief. Well, of course, that's what they're going to do, you big doof. The SNP administration introduced hate crime legislation on April Fool's Day. Interesting, relating to age, disability, sexual orientation, transgender identity, or variation in sex characteristics. It prompted author J.K. Rowling to challenge police to take action against her over her gender-critical views, but officers said no action would be taken. Oh, you mean that she says a woman is a woman and a man is a man? Oh my gosh, that's so extreme. How could you go against chromosomes like that? How dare you? How dare you try to create a delusion that contradicts reality? Oh my gosh. Mr. Yusuf at first claimed there was absolutely no evidence to support warnings of a deluge of complaints. Of course he's going to say that. But as cases stacked up, he was forced to ask people not to misuse the law. Yeah. Ironically, thousands of objections already submitted have been over a speech Mr. Yusuf delivered about a number of key figures in Scotland being white. No action was taken. Yeah, a lot of calls about him committing hate speech. Yes, which indeed, according to these laws, he has. Yep, racism against white people who are the natives of Scotland. So David Kennedy, he says they're swamped. I read that. Mr. Kennedy said there has been no extra funding from the Scottish government despite the extra work which has been created. So officers who are stretched to or beyond their limits are simply being swamped. Oh, I love to see it. While the vast majority of complaints will end up being deemed for no further action, wait, you're not going to set up a system of gulags across Scotland? Hey, idea. Each case has to be closely checked and assessed so that it is using resources which could be used elsewhere. SPF Chairman David Thread said, the force may have to reduce services to meet the demands of the new law. Well, another stupid law by the totalitarians, and it flies in their faces. Yes, these phones are swamped now. I don't know who these people are, but as Mendoza says, this law is clearly not going to be enforced or interpreted equally and fairly, you think. It is just a weapon for the regime to persecute and jail their political opponents. Indeed. Identities deemed to be political allies by the regime will be protected. Identities deemed to be enemies will be punished. And we all know deep down which identity is being put where. There are worries that allegations of hate crime can be made anonymously. It sounds like what's going on in Washington with the Attorney General's office now, that you can just report for anybody for anything if it offends you. They're wearing red. If they're wearing a red hat that says, "Hey Bob," on it. If you are reading a book, The Hobbit, at the coffee shop, if you don't like it and you seem offended for some whatever reason you make up, you can call the Attorney General's office and report it as a hate crime. Okay, so this is the same thing going on in socialist Washington state. The warning that this new law would be weaponized and put additional pressure on an already overstretched force. Maybe you should use this force to go after people actually breaking the law, like your own Prime Minister, President, Yusuf, or to kick out the illegals. Yeah. The Scottish Police Federation said there's enough anger and hateful bile online to occupy every police officer in Scotland, given that current guidelines state that all hate crime complaints should be investigated. Officers have not received sufficient training in how to mediate such complex territory. They never specify how this will be executed. They never do. Leftists love to dream up these censorship laws, and they remain open-ended and super ambiguous. Now that can be weaponized, because if you keep it subjective and ambiguous, you can just kind of go after anybody you want, depending on the day and your mood. That's why they don't specify everything. Let's see. Your use of word regime is inaccurate. The SNP under Nicola was bad, but under Hamza is a basket case. The purpose of this law is to silence people and allow useless a free rein to bring in the INP of Scotland, and also to bolster their hate crime statistics. Yep, make them look like they're doing something. We're solving crimes, and these are stupid. Meanwhile, there is rape and murder going on and knife crimes, but let's ignore that and let's just boost our own crime statistics. Anarcho-tyranny out the wazoo happening in Scotland. Also, did they really think the public was not going to use it for silly stuff and take the pee? They should have upgraded the resources before, but you know everything about this has been managed by numbnuts. Bad laws can be made useless by the public failure to cooperate with them, or in this case, mass complaints can overwhelm the system. Hopefully, the Scottish government will see the sense of it and get rid of it. Well, yes, and of course, Oil of London kind of wrapped this up. Let's see, under the new law stirring up hatred, which includes misgendering a trans person, can be punishable with up to 7 years in prison. Thousands of complaints, as I said, were filed against Scotland's leader, Humza Suaf, for an anti-white speech he delivered in 2020. Well, of course, it all goes full circle, buddy. But of course, he's protecting himself. Ankush Sharma said, imagine you end up in the same cell as a guy that killed someone because you misgendered a woman that looked like a man. That's how it ends. You spend all day trying to control taxpayers. You lose tax income. At some point, you need to address the people who spend all day committing violent crimes instead of working to pay taxes. Scotland was awesome without Islam. True. Bring back awesome again. The world would be awesome without Islam. Isn't it ironic? Those that flee Islamic countries where gays are murdered, animal cruelty is the norm, Christians are persecuted, women and children are abused, and violence is part of everyday life. Join a country and begin lobbying for those same laws and values to be accepted. Otherwise, they label you as intolerant. Yes, welcome in and usher in Sharia law. The joy. Someone from the conservatives should stand up and deliver the same speech word for word, but replace white with Muslim and see what the cops say. I know. Ultimate irony if they did that. That would be great. Scottish police haven't been really struggling. They've only got one person to arrest from all the complaints about his anti-white speech. Yes, the Prime Minister or President of Scotland, whatever this guy is. Right? Is that what he is? Help me, Scottish people. Because I'm trying to figure out, what is he? He is, yes, the First Minister of Scotland. Okay, the guy in charge. So Battle Rope Man says, Humza Yousaf is a name to remember as Scotland's worst ever leader and a shining example of why DEI doesn't work. Bingo. And the sooner he's booted out of office, the sooner Scotland can breathe again and get better. Yes, people like Humza Yousaf or whatever his name is, they bring only shit to these places. That's what they do. They say shit, they bring shit, they deliver shit. And that's what you get. Now you get this horrible hate crime law, and it backfires, of course, because thousands of complaints are against this loser. Okay, sure seems like there's a lot of hate against this anti-hate speech law. Something tells me that Christians aren't covered under the law. Yeah, I know. I have that feeling too. You think? Yeah, I'm thinking Christians aren't covered under this. See why these bills are ambiguous? They just don't want to tell you what they're going to do. But we all know what they're going to do. Yet another own goal by the useless one. This law has been another massive failure by the Scottish National SNP Party, I think. They should be thrown out now. William Wallace must be turning in his grave at the state of Scotland today. Love it. Keep calling. And America supports you. Good Americans, we support you. You know, I wish you the best, and I pray for Scotland as well. We're in this battle together right now. Fortunately, right now, I'm just saying, we've got some Second Amendment rights in the United States. Thank the Lord for that. Not to do anything harmful, but simply to protect the other parts of the Bill of Rights that people have to protect themselves from the government. There's a reason the government hates the U.S. Constitution, because it is meant to limit the rights of the government. You get it. Ad nauseum. Summary. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go to jail. Who could have predicted this happening? Who, this guy? Hope I haven't misgendered him. Looks like he is full of hate. He absolutely is. Hate slathered with a nice layer of the pretense of compassion. But underneath is just a hateful little rock. You know, the iron fist with a velvet glove. That's what I see. I almost nailed it, but didn't. So the iron fist with a velvet glove. That's what it is. Gosh, okay. I'm not good with those canned sayings, but I'll try. A case of hate speech has been registered on my friend as she asked a Muslim guy in her office, Are you fasting today? Do you mind if I eat my lunch here in the cafeteria? Were they responding to real crime before, or were they standing around telling white Brits that they can't support Israel? And here you go. Creating an online tool to report racism, finding out you're the most reported person. Bingo! Sorry, Humza, whatever your name is. I have zero respect, obviously, right? While it's great to see the law as an embarrassing debacle, what will they do? What they do with it will ignore 98% of the reports, but use the last 2% to target political speech. Well, yes, of course. When you seek to censor others, you must also surrender to being censored. The law itself is a hate crime. I agree. A hate crime bill is a hate crime in and of itself because it's open-ended and it will always target. It is meant to be weaponized. It is created to be weaponized. That's the danger of censorship bills. People will fight back over useless laws, wait until somebody reports the Quran. I wonder if they already have. But see, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to enforce anything there. But they certainly will enforce it if it's Christians, right? This didn't go as they thought. Can't wait for the ones that pass this law to be the target of it. Yep. Move to the United States. We're the second largest Scottish population. You don't have to worry about freedom of speech here. Yeah. It's coming a little slower here, but yeah, we have some different policies and rights here, and hopefully we can hold on to that too. I'm praying for it. It's kind of spreading everywhere, this virus. The hateful Scottish government realized the ridiculousness over their anti-hate edicts and have decided to arrest everyone in Scotland for pointing this out. Isn't fascism grand? No more free society. Advice, stay away from the country. You could end up in prison for any perceived violation. Pathetic. That's why I said this is much like the Washington state law that they're trying to put in. I did a video on it. I have to do a refresher, but there was something instituted or proposed. And it was to set up, like I said, a hotline that you could call 24/7 and report if somebody didn't like your blue hair, or you had been misgendered, or if somebody was wearing their shirt backwards, or they picked a booger and you didn't like it, or they ordered a coffee and you disagreed with them on their favorite coffee, you can be reported, okay? And so, or if you're reading Little House on the Prairie at the coffee shop, you could be arrested. I'm dead serious. These are the worst ideas ever. So people in first world countries right now have got to get it together. Countries are being absolutely demolished, and you're worried about somebody hating you. Well, I agree with that. Anyway, so let me know what you think, folks. I'm sure you have very similar comments. If not, I feel sorry for you. But you can disagree. Hey, man, I believe in free speech. Fine. And so whatever you believe is fine. But compelled speech to me is pretty bad. Malicious compliance, obviously it doesn't work. And it's funny how it bites themselves in the ass. How the first Minister of Scotland, he was the guy who got called on for the most hate speech calls. So anyway, so thanks for watching, folks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.